Welcome to Voice of Evolution Radio. Conversations that awaken, inspire, and activate with producer and host Linda Lombardo.
Welcome to Voice of Evolution Radio. I'm Linda Lombardo. The Other Side is a regular guest on Voice of Evolution Radio. Their mission is to create a community of girls exchanging perspectives and experiences through global cross-cultural storytelling. In this exchange, girls connect, sharing the natural curiosity we all have about people, places, and things. The girls teach us that we are all so very similar, in spite of our differences. As we begin this broadcast, it's 9 p.m. in New York and 7 a.m. the next morning in Anup Shahar, Uttar Pradesh, India. Sapna Sharma, our global drama exchange student in India, will be joining us shortly as we await a connection between Sapna and Joanna Seifter here in the U.S. As part of today's global drama exchange, the girls will share monologues about their lives with each other. They've been connected on Facebook for a while, and they are meeting face-to-face here on the air to learn what they have in common, as well as some surprises about each other. Melanie Kloss, founder of The Other Side, is also joining us here today to guide the girls through this drama exchange experience. I'll bring her on to talk more about The Other Side and what you're about to hear. Welcome, Melanie.
Thank you, Linda. Great to be back.
Oh, it's always great to have you back. And you know, the place where I want to start, well, there's a couple of things. One is I understand that as the sun is rising in India, it is the beginning of India's Independence Day.
Yeah.
Here in the States, like our 4th of July, and that's a big deal.
Yeah.
I know it is for India. I did a little bit of research on it once I knew that. It's their 70th Independence Day. And there's real significance to that for India to be independent of the British Empire. So
yeah.
It's something we have in common too, right? It's another one of our
connections. Yeah.
Our connections here.
Both of our Independence Days celebrate independence from the same colonizers.
That's right. And so what I understand about Sapna is that this was not a day that she had to go into work.
That's right. Sapna, as you'll learn, that she works with something called the self-help group. So it's a department which works with women in the community, and it's a part of the Pardada Pardati campus, but it's not a part of the actual Pardada Pardati school. The school is in session today, and it's a special half day. I think they have an assembly and they have a party to celebrate Independence Day. But her office is actually closed. So she is coming in with a brother of hers who rides a bike, a motorcycle, and will bring her in very early in the morning. So I'm very grateful for her family to support her coming in this early.
And you know, and I think that speaks to what it takes to put this together. Because we're such a connected world, we think, well, all right, so you're going to talk to someone in India. Well, you know, that's not a big deal. You Skype, you Zoom, and we use, for my listeners who know, we use a Zoom room here so that we're seeing each other as well as being able to record our audio here together. And yet there is so much that goes on just to bring us all together. The first of which is the time difference, right? Here it is 9 o'clock at night. It's 7 a.m. in India. And there's more beyond that. It's not just that time difference, because as a young woman and a single young woman, it's very different for Sapna to be able to travel anywhere to get to Pardada Pardati today. And maybe you can just say a little bit about that, Melanie, that really just sets that scene for what it's taking her, or what it takes of her to be able to participate in this.
Yeah, absolutely. I've actually visited Sapna's home a number of times and did the journey from the school to her home. And it's not close. She has to take a public bus and then a very, very long walk down a road into her village. And she comes from a pretty conservative family in a village where she's the only girl that's educated in her village and the only girl that's working in her village. Almost every step of the way, from her training to her job now, she needed to get permission from her older brothers. And they said no every single time, but then she persisted. And eventually now she's working finally, and actually she's going to be getting married pretty soon, which I think she's going to talk about a little bit. So yeah, it's a long journey, and just to be a woman in India anywhere is there's a danger there. There's a little bit of a problem for women where people stare at you. People wonder why you're going alone. People wonder why for someone like Sapna coming from her village, where is she going? She's going to work. She's going for a job. That's not something that a girl should be doing. People talk, people whisper, and if people saw her going by herself this early in the morning, it could be either dangerous for her or just a source of gossip, which she would then have to deal with. So her brother taking her is really the best solution.
Great. Well, that helps, really. I think that helps set the context of why these conversations are so important.
Yeah.
We're going to find that there's going to be so many similarities, and yet I'm always struck by the cultural differences about what each one of the girls talks about and what is happening in their world.
Yeah.
And what's the subject of conversation in the world. And it still can be so very different between a girl in India and a girl in the States. And I know we have Joanna standing by waiting, so I'm eager to hear both of their monologues and what kind of questions that they have for each other. Before we get into that, though, I really do want you to say more about the other side.
Sure.
You've done so in the past. Somebody listening for the first time, what is the other side? How did it get started?
Thank you. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, the Other Side Intercultural Theater is a nonprofit organization where we match up girls in different countries, and they learn about each other using the tool of performing arts, mostly drama, to talk about the kinds of problems that they face as girls and the feelings that they have, and to create a community, sisterhood, and to find empathy in each other's stories. The Other Side started actually with Jojo and Sapna. They were both a part of the very first exchange that ever took place for the Other Side. So that was in 2013. I know Jojo as Jojo, but we're going to call her Joanna from here on out. Joanna was a part of a group of 4 girls who were all freshmen in high school at the time, and they created a play all about what it's like to be a girl in their world. We filmed that play by filmmaker Samantha Cornwell, who was on a previous Voice of Evolution.
Oh, yes, I remember Samantha.
I took that video to Pardada Pardadi, which is in Anupshahar, and showed the video to a group of girls there, and then the girls there created their own play about the problems that they faced. Sapna was a part of that group. They performed that play for their International Women's Day celebration, which was on March 8th, and then we took that performance, that video, back to New York City, where the original 4 girls watched the video and created a final play, which was kind of a splicing between the video of the girls from India and a live performance in New York City. And from there, the Other Side was born. We currently work with 3 different school programs in New York City. We work with Pardada Pardadi in Anupshahar, and also we're starting to work with the new school in Uttar Pradesh in Jatari, which is a couple of hours away from Anupshahar. We also work with a group of girls in Tel Aviv, Israel, and actually, without giving too much away, because not too much is confirmed yet, there's a possibility that we'll be doing a radio show exchange with girls in Tel Aviv on a more consistent basis. So stay tuned for that possibility.
Very excited about that.
And we'll be working with schools in Cambodia and Uganda and hopefully more schools all over the world and in New York City and in the United States.
And let me ask you this, because I always marvel at how people come to a purpose, their purpose. Where did this come from in you, Melanie?
That's a good question. The first spark of wanting to create some kind of connection between girls was when I went to India the first time and stayed at this school. And first of all, just saw the magic and the power behind an all-girls campus in a place where girls are not valued, and the importance of education in order to empower girls. And then I felt that human connection between myself and some of the young women who were there at the school while just connecting about things that we all want: companionship, friendship, love, jobs, and wanted to figure out a way to connect younger girls in that same way so they could feel that sense of community. So when I came back to New York City, I was thinking, it took a long time and a few different jobs and a few different things later, how can I give back to girls in New York who experienced life the way I did and connect them to girls in India and make the world a little bit more connected without having everyone to buy plane tickets and go there.
What's the impact so far? Is there a story or is there something that you can tell the listeners that says, here's what's happening as a result of this work that the other side does?
Yeah, actually, just recently, and I don't think you know this yet, but I got an email from a girl named Catherine, who was a part of the very first Other Side group that Joanna was part of. And she told me that she is about to go to Smith College, and she's really excited to go. And she said that she didn't use the word influence, but that her passion for women's rights and for talking about women, which grew out of the other side or was maybe marinated in the other side, was a part of and connected to her decision to want to go to an all-girls school like Smith. And so she's going to write something about that. We're going to have that up as a blog post soon. That was just something that, 4 years later, seeing how this experience affected one of our participants in such a way that, it had something to do with her life choice of where she wanted to go to school, was really amazing and heartwarming. And then even on the flip side of that, there's a lot of those girls who were in the first group in India are now working independent jobs. They're all, doing something that they want to do. They're all following their dreams. They're all, for the most part, independent. And, even Sapna, who is constantly having to defy what her brothers want her to do. She's strong and she's smart, and I think that the other side has something to do with that, or having allies in New York, having, friends in different places, that girls that can support her in what she's doing is super important.
Thank you. And I know some of the girls who have been part of the drama exchange here on Voice of Evolution Radio, some of the girls from India have traveled to the United States for school.
Actually, two of them. One, Rita, went to the United States for a year. She just came back a couple months ago. And then Bandana, who did our exchange last summer around the same time, she is currently in Florida at a community college. So both girls participated in this government-funded community college program. So they go for 1 year at a community college in the U.S. Such an exciting experience for them to go out of their, not only out of their village, but out of the country into the U.S. to learn something, to see something different, meet people from all over the world. Really exciting.
I would be curious to hear from Rita about what her experience was like, or what was it like living in the United States after hearing about it.
Yeah.
Such a very different cultural experience.
Yeah, absolutely. I wonder if we can set up something.
Yeah, maybe we can arrange something like that. I think it would be fun. I would, one of the things I've wanted to do, and we're kind of doing this unofficially anyway, is simply following a purpose, following someone who's on a journey through that journey. And you and I do this, although we have different young women on sharing their stories, we're actually sharing the other side's journey as we do this. But it would be fun to have Rita or Bandana to share what's happening to them, and maybe we can do something about that.
I wonder if we can even get together the same girls who were paired with each other and just like, where are you now?
Okay, then let's do it. We've created it, and now we're going to do it.
That's good.
So can you set us up for what it is we're going to hear tonight?
Yes. So Joanna and Sapna both wrote a monologue, which is like a skit, but for one person. And it's kind of a short biography about themselves, about their lives, about things that are important to them, especially focusing in on the problems that girls face in their culture and how they might have overcome some of those problems or addressed some of those problems or observed some of those problems in their experience. And both girls have read through each other's monologues and then prepared questions for each other, connections, which are like something they have in common, and surprises about the other person's monologue. And they haven't seen each other's questions, connections, or surprises yet. So that's going to be a surprise for them. So we'll first hear Joanna's monologue, then we'll hear Sapna's monologue, and then Linda and I will facilitate a discussion between the two girls with them asking each other their questions and making their connections in an organic kind of way.
Perfect. You've got it down pat.
Now we've done it enough times.
I know we have. So let's bring Joanna on. Hi, Joanna.
Hi, Linda.
How are you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I am well. Thank you for being here with us on the air.
Thank you for having me.
I'm excited because I don't know much about you at all. I'm really excited to hear your monologue and hear what you have to say.
Thank you. I'm very excited to share it. I'm very excited to talk to Sapna soon.
So do you want to begin?
Sure. Thank you. So hi, my name is Joanna, and although I've lived in New York City all 18 years of my life, I'm about to head off to Minnesota, where I will be an undergraduate student at Macalester College. I'm particularly interested in going into educational studies because growing up, I was lucky enough to be surrounded by wonderful teachers. They gave me the strength and challenges to push myself as far as I could. They taught me not only to use the classroom as a tool to learn, but also as a tool to teach my peers. And I want to be just like them, to teach students information that will benefit them in and out of the classroom while simultaneously teaching them to empower one another. Because believe it or not, teaching children to empower one another is almost or even as important as teaching them facts and figures. See, I've grown up in a society that almost encourages boys and girls to be separate. I mean, this is the country that makes using the bathroom that suits your preference a headline issue. I remember boys teasing girls for wearing their first bras and girls teasing boys for having to hide the lumps in their pants in middle school, even though both girls and boys couldn't control either. I recall girls, including myself, forming girl groups and boys forming boy groups during recess and lunch. In playgrounds, it was perfectly acceptable for boys and girls to call each other sissies, and I even attended a camp that rewarded boys and girls for forming separate groups simply because of their gender. Yeah, this sort of separation can be partially attributed to the immaturity of young boys and girls, but it can also be chalked down to the way the American education system is designed. And even though our education system gives students opportunities to figure out what they want to do with their lives and gives students the resources to follow their dreams, the American education system is also undeniably flawed. I mean, its schools often enforce standardized testing that values rote memorization over actual knowledge, as well as budget cuts and broken promises. But more than that, the American public education system is controlled on a national level, meaning that it doesn't offer a lot of room for creativity or even individual attention or encouragement. This can be both good and bad. On one hand, this means our education system has an even playing field, so all students have the same opportunities to succeed, regardless of one's background or status. However, it does have some drawbacks. Because our education system has an even playing field, it means that children who do not grow up in nourishing environments get the exact same treatment as those who do. This gives those fortunate enough to grow up in a supportive household like me an unfair advantage to some of my classmates who might have negligent parents or might have grown up in a neighborhood with a lack of resources. Some students prosper while others get left behind in the competition to succeed. Gender and income can especially come into play here. For instance, while in America most families give their daughters the same opportunities to receive an education that they give their sons, the way women and girls are treated by their family, friends, and neighbors can affect how they are educated. The American public education system, as well as American society, can enforce the idea that women should say sorry more than men. That actually used to be a huge problem for me. from the ages of 9 to 13, I would apologize so much to my male teachers, classmates, and my father that when an actual apology was needed, it didn't sound right. It didn't sound genuine. American families, friends, neighborhoods, and schools can also enforce the idea that women should feel flattered when they are complimented by strangers, aka catcalled. As a result, women can feel more like they have to accept what they are told than men might in an educational environment. Even a lack of representation in the American education system can lead to different types of education for people based on their race or gender. Like if your art class only teaches you about male artists, or your history class only mentions white politicians. If you don't hear multiple points of view, then you might believe that there are only some voices that are worth hearing, and in turn, it can lead you to believe that they're suppressed because they simply don't matter. Hopefully, this generation can be the one to tackle the American education system's inability to fully embrace gender and background differences. Hopefully, we can be the ones to encourage boys to empower boys, for girls to empower girls, and most importantly, for boys and girls to empower one another. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanna.
Thank you, Joanna. Wow. When are you running for office? You know, you touched on so many points. I agree with you about the educational system, and I think it even goes beyond that. It goes into our culture in so many different ways, this gender inequality. And the funny thing, you know, Melanie and I were speaking about SAPNA, and it seems to be much more overt in some countries, and yet in the United States, there is perhaps a more covert type of inequality where it gets built in a way that you don't really realize it. Sometimes it's right there, and other times it's done in such a way that it's, you know, it's the frog in the warm water. By the time you realize the water's gotten hot, you can't do anything about it. You know, it's been enculturated in so many subtle ways that you don't realize it until it's already done, and it's there.
I agree. Yeah, I recently graduated high school, and I feel like now that I'm out of there, now that I've experienced everything, it's all a lot more clear to me the way it works.
Yeah.
And I think that Joanna also touched upon an important point, which is that these sorts of things begin, that kind of internalized oppression begins at a very young age. And I think that it is the responsibility of teachers and anyone who is in contact with children to not let that happen, to stop it from happening, and to honor equality and present different kinds of people in the history lessons that maybe mirror who the kids are in the classroom. And hopefully Joanna will be a great teacher one day.
Thank you, Melanie.
If there was something you would want to see more of, or something you would want to see less of in the educational institution, what would those be? Or if there was one thing that you could change about it right away, immediately, what would it be?
Wow. I've thought a lot about this. I'd say if there's one issue that I think is the most interesting that we should tackle right now about the public education system for especially middle and high school students, it would be the Common Core program, because it's a very split issue. It's also a bit of a bipartisan issue in that no matter like what your political standpoint is or social standpoint, a lot of people agree that it's flawed, but a lot of people don't necessarily understand why or how. I think a lot of people just sort of assume that it has bad intentions because it's on a national level, but in my opinion at least, the Common Core system has noble intentions in that it tries to make education a bit more cross-disciplinary for high school students when they're not often given that opportunity to combine subjects in a practical way. But at the same time, because it's from the Board of Ed that it's applied to so many students, it's not fine-tuned to the students' needs. So it can be really confusing for certain kids and work really well for others. So I think getting a greater understanding of how we can fix that, how we can make a system that is designed to make learning a bit more cross-disciplinary, how to make that more accessible for students and less confusing and pointless seeming.
I thought of something else I wanted to mention. We were talking about earlier about some of the challenges of getting SAPNA to this radio recording and how that also reflects what it's like to be a woman in her culture. I would say that there are some similar things for Joanna because we're actually recording in Joanna's home, and I'm very grateful for her parents for letting us do that. It's late at night for anyone to be doing something like this. And if we were to do it in a different location, like at my home or someone else's home, that would mean that Joanna would be going home alone pretty late at night. And I think that that's a similar kind of concern for any young woman to be going somewhere at night, past 11 p.m.
Yeah, it definitely crosses geographical boundaries.
Yeah, I think that's a commonality here.
I think so too. And sadly, to have to say that, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
So we're grateful for Joanna's parents and the understanding of the importance of what it is we're doing here and the graciousness and flexibility that everyone shares so that we can accomplish this.
Yeah. Linda, do you want to introduce?
Yes, I do. So just as we brought Joanna on the air, we want to bring Sapna on the air. She made it, even though today is not a day she's working or even had to go into work. But she is here, and welcome, Sapna.
Can you hear us, Sapna? Hello. Yay.
Oh, here we go.
Hi, Sapna.
Hi, Sapna.
Hello. How are you? Good. How are you?
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. I'm so happy, Sapna, that you're here with us. We're all so happy to see you. Me too, Em.
So we know it took a lot for you to get here today. Early in the morning for you?
Yes.
And so I want you to know how much we appreciate that you came in so that we could hold this global drama exchange. Thank you.
It's my pleasure, ma'am.
Melanie, do you want to set the stage or introduce Sapna's monologue?
Yeah. So, Sapna, Joanna especially would love to hear you read your monologue now. Okay? So we want to hear what you have to say about your life. And when you finish, then talk about some other things, okay? Okay. All right, let's hear it. So, can you hear me properly? Yes. Hello everyone, especially Linda and Jojo. And I'm Sapna. I come from near a place. It is called Sonai. And I have done my undergraduate. Now I am pursuing my post-graduation degree. It is a Master of Arts from CCS University, Chaudhry Charan Singh University, Uttar Pradesh. In short form, we call it CCS University Meerut. I am doing my MA and working at the same time because in India we have two types of education, private and regular. Private means we have studied and only come to the campus to take our exam. In regular, we have to go to class daily. I am doing my MA in the private way. I have in a small place and I have two lovely family. My father is a farmer and my mother is a housewife. She takes care of us. And I have 6 siblings, including me. I am the 5th oldest. I have 3 older brothers and 1 younger sister. She is studying in 10th class in Pardada Pardadi Educational Society, a girls' school in Anupshare where the other side does their drama program. We call it PPS in short form. My 2 brothers have their own business and one is in the army. My brother and sister are all married, each one child. I like to play games, read books, to write blogs, to learn new things and help to others. Now I am going to tell you about my work at the self-help group. The self-help group is department at PPS.
that helpless women because become financially independent. I like to teamwork and I do teamwork in my office. You know, when I came to PPS for call center training, my society don't like that some people made that very clear to my brother. My brother said to them, she is she's learning very well in PPS. And after that, I gave an interview. I was selected. And when my brother heard she is selected, then he said, no, you will not do job and we are sending you just learning. You should learn only. Then I asked again, I want to do job. I want to do job because I hard work also for that in PPS and I do lots of work. Then he said, what, why you want to? Then I said, I want to become self-dependent. Then my another brother support me and my father. She did hard work. If she will do job, what the problem? She should do job. And he also agree, okay, if she wants and so you both are saying, so she can do it. After that, my society think about me, why she's doing job. She has she brother also for earning money. Then my brother said she's doing a good job and she learned a lot in PPS. And people say in my society, job is not good for girl. Why she's doing? She's a girl. Girls should not do job. That's not good for girl. But I don't care what people say, what they think about me because my family agree. I don't care. Then my brother agreed. Now I'm doing my job, and now I'm working with the self-help group. I do data input, and at first I didn't know how to use that software that I am working. I was aware with that how to use computer, but it is different software. So Santam sir and Javed sir taught me, and he's very guy. He's my boss also. He's very nice guy, and my team is very nice. When I came to PPS, I learned a lot. Before I didn't know how to use computer. I didn't know how to speak English. You know, when foreigners came to talk to us, then I tried to hide my face because I always think how to speak English. They are speaking English very well. Before I didn't get what they says, what they talking. Just I always hide my face because I don't know how. I didn't know how to speak. How I will be. Then I had I had so much fear to take English and to talk others, communicate others, but I did lots of hard work and I after I come over my fear and got the job at the self-help group. I asked my brother and my younger sister to study at PPS. My brother said no, she will not because it is not good school. Then I had no choice but to say, it is okay as you wish. Then I asked next year and he said, okay, if you improved a lot, she will also. Then she is studying now she is studying in PPS. She improved a lot and my daughter is so happy to see her. And I would like to share you about my marriage. In India, girls don't want to do marriage actually. They want, some of don't want. So she should do because our society comments them and them parents. why parents are not doing her marriage. She is very aged, so it's common in India. Girls have to do marriage, and there are one thing also in India. After marriage, if girls don't have child, they this society says that why she don't have child, she have is she's she have any problem or she don't want to because she have done 2 years, 5 years to get married. Why she don't have child? So in India should have child. Mostly they want boys, but I don't like. I really like girls. Well, boys also boys should have, but girls I think girls also because if girls don't have, how how they will get boys? Boys also they got because of girls. If they will be not, then boys also will be not. That's why I like it. Girls. And they have to live at home. They think the boys have to live at their home, girls go other home. Some of that's why they don't want daughter because she go one day she will be go. It is in India mostly girls have to go other home. If in India if women don't have baby, some of problem, so girls have to took medicine for a baby in India. Then she got baby because of medicine. There is jury system also that I hate. I really hate that. Mostly people want that when their sons get married, then they take lots of jewelry from the bride's parents. If they are not giving jewelry, they want white and with bride. And I would like to share about my marriage. I'm going to get married last of November. I think our body also have to requirements, some of requirements. I think that so we need to fulfill all as all the needs that body wants. And I'm so happy to take my marriage because I have done my 24 years. I'm 24 years old now. I also think that I have to get married in this age, and I think it's my age to getting married. So
Yes, please.
it's done. It's all about me. Thank you.
Thank you, Sapna. Thank you so much
Sapna.
for sharing your stories and your thoughts and your feelings.
Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you, Sapna.
Welcome, ma'am.
One of the things that just made me smile was when you talked about being afraid of all the things you didn't know how to do, but you did them anyway. And I can just see that in you. I've never met you before, but I can see you as you're speaking. And I can just see that that's so much a part of you, is that you're just ready for whatever you need to do so that you can be who you are.
I met Sapna when she was shy and nervous about speaking English. I remember that time.
Yeah, I was. Lots of.
And I've seen her grow so much since then. I've seen her really grow into a young woman in so many different ways. So
Thank you.
I'm proud of you, Sapna.
Thank you, Ella.
And Melanie, I just want to take a moment too to say to our listeners, because they're probably hearing a lot of background noise, and that's because Sapna she's in a private space, and yet there's a lot going on around her. This is already 8 o'clock in the morning in India, and so the school is alive with things happening, and so it's part of the natural way in the space that there are a lot of different things happening at once.
So Joanna and Sapna have both prepared some questions for each other. And since Sapna, you arrived after Joanna read her monologue, so we'll have Joanna ask the questions first.
Okay.
Hi, Sapna.
Hi.
So one of the first question that I have for you is, you mentioned your marriage, and I was just wondering what marriage means to you and your family, the idea of marriage.
In India, according to me, my family also, girls have to do marriage in their age, not 18, 17. It's not good. If she's like I am, now I am 24. So I also think I have to, because I also want to make a good family as my father and mother have. I also want a good family, like mother-in-law, father-in-law, and as my mother and brother wife do, I also want to do like same thing. I have also a good family. In India, if a girl live in their parents, it is not her house. If she went there when she's going to get married, it is her home. Actually, it is in India.
Sapna, can you tell our listeners, do you have an arranged marriage, or did you choose your own husband?
It is arranged marriage, yeah. Because my parents always want, we will search like she is. Same, we will search like him. We will not search like he is easy to her and he is not qualified like she is. And my brother always said, like she is, we will also search same. Otherwise one day she will say, what kind of boys you choose me? That's why he chooses it for me. Like.
Sapna, can you ask Joanna one of your questions?
Okay. Are there any rules of marriage in your culture? Do different religions have different rules of marriage? Because in India we have religion system which controls marriage custom also.
In the U.S., it sort of depends on the family and their background. In general, in America, most families, they let their sons and daughters marry whoever they love. Some religions call for different customs. So some families are a little more traditional in that they want their children to marry within either their race or economic background or religion. That is becoming less and less common, though, in this country, because we're sort of moving in a more open-minded and progressive direction than we used to be. So I would say in general that we're very open to who can marry who, but there are still some families that are a bit more, in their words, traditional.
Jojo, when was the last time that you went to a wedding?
I've actually never been to a wedding.
Joanna has never been to a wedding.
Oh, really? Come to join my wedding. Come and join us.
I would love to go.
But you should if you want.
Thank you for inviting me.
I'm glad you asked that question, Sapna, because I think that talking about marriage for both of you is an interesting topic. Joanna, how old are you, Jojo?
I'm 18 years old.
So Jojo is 18, which is the age that you said when many women start to think about marriage, or their families start to think about marriage. Is that right?
Yeah, it should be 20, 21. But in India, parents do them girls marriage 18, 19, 17. But it's not good.
Well, instead of marriage, Joanna's focusing on something else in her life, which is a very big deal and important thing, which is that she's about to go to university, go to college. It's in a different city. It's in a different location from her home, where she lives now with her parents. So, Sapna, you had a really good question about that.
Okay. Yeah, I heard that in USA culture that when you turn 18, kids leave. You should leave their parents' house. Why do they leave? It is a rules of custom. Please make me understand. Actually, I want to know that.
A lot of children, when they turn 18, they leave their homes to study, to schools in different areas of the country. But some students do stay with their parents to go to school. I have a lot of friends who live in New York City that are staying in New York City to go to schools within the state. I happen to be moving very far away, so I am leaving home. And at the age of 18, you graduate from high school and you move on to the point where you can study away from your home. You can get different experiences and you can become more independent.
I'm just noticing a connection right now, which is that both Joanna and Sasha are about to leave their homes and live in a different home for the first time, but for very different reasons. Joanna, do you have a question for Sasha?
Yes, I do. You mentioned in your monologue about how your community talks about you and doesn't necessarily approve of you getting an education. So how have you and your family dealt with your community, like rumors and gossip about you going to school and getting a job?
When I was studying, then my parents said to me, if you want to studying anything, MA, BA, BEd, anything you want, you can. Then my community says that she is done. Her age is going to get married. Why she is doing job? My parents says we are searching a boy, but we are not able to search as we want for her. When I came in the morning, parents says you are doing good, but my society says that she is doing in the morning, she came back in the evening, where she is going, but they know she is going in PPS. But they backbite about me. Then my brother said she's doing a good job. We are so happy to take her. And now I am doing job before 2 years, and I had a training also, call center training, 1 year, 6 months. So my family is so happy to take me.
I want to highlight something that you said earlier.
Okay.
You said, people talk about me in my community, in my village, but I don't care. You said it in such a strong way. You said, I don't care what they think.
I don't, when my parents didn't agree, my family didn't agree to me, she will do job, then that time I also feel uncomfortable. When my parents, my brother agree you will do, then I don't care. I didn't care what people say.
Yeah.
Because my family agree. I don't care what they say. Only just I focused on my family.
Joanna, do you have anything in your life where you feel like people might talk about you or make a judgment, but you just say, I don't care what they think?
Yeah, I feel that a lot about the way I look. I know that sometimes people judge me for having short hair, and even when I was younger and I didn't have short hair, I heard a lot of comments about just me looking kind of unfeminine or like a man. And for them, I said and felt, and still do say and feel, I don't care. I'm happy with the way I look. I feel the best when I look the way I want to look, and I don't care what other people think about that.
And I think that it's very common in the USA for girls to feel that way about looks in particular. The way that you dress and the way that you look. Girls are supposed to look a certain way. And if you don't fit into what everyone else thinks about you, then they make some judgment. And the most important thing that both of you ladies are saying right now is, I don't care. I don't care.
In India, we wear short dresses also, like Jojo wear this. If we wear this kind of cloth in India, people say, oh my God, what she wear? yeah, that time also I'll think, okay, it is not good because in India if we wear you Mela, you also saw in India it is not
Yeah.
if they without sleep also we will wear society also society will comment us, oh my god, without sleep we wear shoes and anything top.
Yeah.
Mostly girls wear, but if in India, in my rural, I am from a rural area, so if I'll wear, so society will. Then that time I also think, if my parents agree, that time I'll not care, because my family agree who they are. If my younger brother says to me, okay, what the society say, whatever, you don't care, because we are saying to you, we are allow you wear.
Yeah.
That's why I said I didn't care, because I have everyone in my family, older sister, younger sister, and my mother, my father, everyone I have.
Yeah.
Brother-in-law also. If I am here, I am 15, fifth number one. My number is fifth. So if my older will allow me to do job, studying, clothes, wearing clothes. So that's why I didn't care, because my family agree.
Yeah.
Why they are saying, but they didn't allow me according to society. They will not allow me. You will be able to wear that kind of clothes and going to other place alone. Because they also will not allow me, because what they people say. And I also agree, okay, if you are not allowed, I can't do anything without your permission.
Sapna, I asked Joanna earlier when she talked about going to school to be a teacher and wanting to change the educational system. I asked her, what would she change or what would she want to see be different? Let me ask you, knowing that you're soon to be married, if you were to have a daughter, how would you like to see life different for her?
What she want, if I will be have a daughter, what she want, I'll give her. Whatever she want, I'll give.
Yeah. That's great.
I want all dream. I want to fulfill all dream. What she had, she will be have. Anything I will be full. I'll try, but I want that. If she need anything, I'll give. What she want, I'll give. What she's saying, I'll say okay, agree. But don't do any wrong thing. People say, my God, she's her daughter. Don't do wrong thing. Whatever you want, whatever my daughter wants, I'll give.
Thank you.
Sapna, can you tell everybody, the listeners, and Joanna and Linda, what your name means in English? What Sapna means in English?
Okay, my name is Sapna. It is mean dream. Like you had a dream last night about me. I don't know if you had or not. Just I'm saying.
Or you have a dream for the future.
Yeah.
Something you wish to change.
Okay. Yeah, I have dream. Just you, Linda ma'am asked me, if you have a daughter, what you will do. I have a dream. I want a daughter. If I will not born a daughter, then I won't give other daughter. Then I'll do good education to her. I want a good for her. I want to send somewhere. I want to see whole world to her, because one day she will be. She, everyone says she's daughter of Sapna, and yeah, and her mother uh, teach me a lot. Her mother support her a lot. One day she will be become a good and highest in my society.
That's a beautiful dream, Sapna.
Yes, I want that.
I just want to ask both girls if you have one last something that you've prepared to talk about, either a connection or a surprise that you think it's really important that you say to each other right now? That's important to you that you want to ask or tell Joanna.
Okay, I have two connections with Jojo. I love your name. I love your nickname really.
Thank you.
I also believe in teaching to improve them, and I really love to teach them because of they will be learn good. As I have knowledge, I want to give children. If I have good, then I can teach them good. I always want to spread my knowledge. And other one is I have also different group in my society, and I am multitasker also. You are doing job and you are doing study. I also doing the same thing. I doing job and I'm doing my study. In India, it's not common. I am a first girl who is doing job and studying in my rural area, in my village actually. I am a first girl who is doing job and who is doing studying also.
Yeah.
Yes.
So for my connection, one of them, I love how we both want to make a difference in our communities. And one thing that I was really surprised about actually when you were speaking was when you said that you were worried about your English, speaking English, because your English has always been amazing.
Thank you.
Seen your performances, you've always been really confident about your English, and it's always sounded wonderful. And that was like something I was very surprised about, to know that you were worried about it at the beginning. If that was how you were initially, Melanie's right. You've grown a ton. And I also wanted to mention that we're both girls trying to get our voices heard. That's our ultimate similarity and our ultimate connection.
Both girls wanting to get their voices heard. And the voice of evolution. I think
Oh, it couldn't be better than that, could it? Well, I want to thank all of you, Melanie, Joanna, Sapna. Thank you so much.
Very welcome, ma'am.
Thank you for facilitating this group, Linda. It's always a pleasure to get everybody together.
It is, and I always learn so much, and I'm always so inspired. And I just want to take a minute and thank the listeners who always tune in, always support Voice of Evolution Radio, and who also support the guests who are on this program, who find them and link to them or like them on their Facebook page and begin to follow them and to give them the kind of support that is the reason that they're here on this program in the first place, because their voices do need to be heard. Their voices awaken, inspire, and activate, which is part of why we have these conversations. So I always want to thank the listeners. Let them know they can learn more at www.thevoiceofevolution.com. And until next time, go out and have conversations that awaken, inspire, and activate.
Linda, can I just make one quick plug?
Yes, please.
I think we can put in the comment section or somewhere in the description a link to our website at the other side, so you can check out what we're doing, and you can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And we'll also put in the link for Pardada Pardati Educational Society, so you can see what's going on at the place where Sapna works. And you can also support both organizations.
Perfect. And all that will be part of the Facebook event page on the Voice of Evolution Radio. All right. So I know it's getting really boisterous over there. Everyone. Good night to Melanie and Joanna. Good morning to Sapna. Thank you so much.
Very good morning, ma'am.
Thank you, Linda.
Thank you. Until next time. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Sapna.